Hi, everybody. Welcome in. See so many familiar faces. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you for joining me this Wednesday. My name is Sarah Ellis, and I'm here with Beadalon. I've got a really fun project to show you guys on the tying station that you can grab from Michael's. And of course, everything else that we are using in today's project, you can get from Michael's as well. But for those of you who do not know the tying station, I'm going to give you the quick rundown of the tying station, and then we're going to put together a bracelet that can actually be altered into an anklet if you want something a little bit bigger and maybe a little bit more beachy. I don't know about you guys, it's cold here today unexpectedly. It's been very warm, and I definitely am looking forward to the warmer temperatures, and summertime jewelry is it's a great distraction on really cold days. So this is going to be one of those. It's definitely going to have you thinking about the beach and sand and warmer temperatures for sure. So the tying station is this little acrylic doodad, and it is so much more than a doodad. I say that in the most loving way ever. So it's a great alternative to remember back in the days when you would use a safety pin to clip your friendship bracelets, your hemp bracelets, things like that, to either your knee or your sock or your friend's shoulder, or you used a clipboard. This is the grown-up version of that. There are two areas here where we can connect. There's a ruler, there is an opening here so that you can get your fingers up underneath it. It is really just a handy tool to have around for this kind of project and a lot of other ones. So we'll talk about that too as we are going through this step by step. So let's get down to it. I'm going to show you what you need, and we are going to get started. All right, so down on the mat, I have my tying station. Now, unfortunately, let's see. Unfortunately, I will not be able to get the entire tying station, I don't think, into the shot. So I'll have to show it to you kind of in sections, which is fine. Just want to adjust the light a little bit, see if I can brighten some things up here for you guys. All right, so the tying station itself is made of acrylic, and it also has some metal components as well. And at both ends, you're going to have basically the same thing. So I'll just show you one of them, and just know that this is down here on the bottom as well. There is one difference with the bottom. I'll show you in just a second. But here at the top, you've got a wing nut and a washer and an acrylic plate. And this comes all the way off, allowing you to attach your work in between these plates, and then you can secure it back down and tighten up the wing nut. Just be careful not to lose this washer. This washer is really, really important. If you lose the washer and you tighten down your wing nut too much, you will crack this acrylic plate. So don't lose that guy. There's one on the bottom as well. Definitely want to keep those with this all the time. A feature that I never really talk about, and I grabbed it today intentionally because I seem to leave this out when we talk about the tying station and in our previous classes, is that it also comes with an attachment that has a little sponge on it. So it's basically the exact same acrylic plate, but it has this squishy, spongy piece on it. You would replace this acrylic plate with this if you were working on a project where you've used the entire length of the tying station, but your project is going to be a little bit bigger. And so you can secure down midway through your project and use your sponge to kind of protect your beads and your metals and those things so that it doesn't get scratched up with the acrylic plate. So just something that I tend to forget to show you guys when we use the tying station, but is definitely a really nice addition to the product itself. Okay, so on the bottom, the only difference is that this piece is movable. So if you are working with a piece that is shorter than the entire length, you can slide this up and adjust it. So if you are going to be working on a very small section, you can secure it at 4 inches instead of way down here at the bottom at 10 inches. So it's just really handy to have, and I'll show you how to do all of that as we are working on our project. So as far as our project is concerned, I've got one that's already ready. So I'm going to kind of show you, and we will walk through this. So for the core of our project, we're actually using bead stringing wire, which takes this to a whole nother place, because that means instead of tying knots and trying to figure out how to make loops and clasps for, you know, soft jewelry, we still have this really great core of bead stringing wire, which means we can use our regular findings for that. So that definitely takes this kind of friendship style bracelet to a real like a higher jewelry level, in my opinion. So we're going to start out with some square knots. We've got some of these beautiful matte Jasper beads, and we are going to create, this is the base, and then we're actually going to hang some other things from this when we get to that point. The knots that we're going to be creating are Lark's head knots, and they are one-sided. I'm going to walk you through all of that. I'm going to make sure that you understand all of it. So don't look at this and be like, oh, I'm never going to be able to get that. I promise we're going to get through this together. Okay. All right. So to get started, the very first thing that you want is a piece of your bead stringing wire. I'm using 19 strand silver colored bead stringing wire. I'm using the 0.018 inch. And I'm using the 19 strand, which is a really good middle of the line bead stringing wire. It has nice flexibility and is going to be perfect for this project. I am using this beautiful silver color. You're going to need about 16 inches of this, give or take. You really don't necessarily have to have that much, but if you're going to adjust this and instead of using or making a bracelet, if you want to make an anklet, you definitely are going to want to have every bit of 16 inches. So to get started, I'm not going to take this acrylic plate here at the top completely off. I'm actually going to push you guys down a little bit. There we go. All right. So I'm not going to take my plate completely off. I'm going to take it just so that see that little space in between there. I'm going to slide my bead stringing wire in there and right up against the screw that is there. And then I'm going to tighten down my wing nut. That's going to keep that nice and secure. I can't pull it loose. Okay. So that's good to go. Now we're going to come down here to the other end and we need to secure the bottom. But before we do that, we want to go ahead and add all of the beads that we're going to use for our project. And we haven't talked about that yet. So let's take a look. So in the one that I showed you just a second ago, I had on that one, let's see, the matte Jasper. For the one we're going to make on this one, I'm going to stick with, let's see here, matte Picasso Jasper. Not much different, but this one, this one is more gray, and the others are more kind of, there's some pinks and some browns and yellows in here as well. So we're going to stick with this one. Kind of reminds me of gray sand. So we're going to use the largest beads on this card. One of the things that I love about these cards, and I've said this a bunch, is that you get so many different sizes. You can tell I've used a lot of the beads that were on here already, and I still have plenty left over. I've made several projects with just this one card. So it makes a great value as far as buying beads, because I have a lot of different sizes and it makes a lot of projects. So definitely a good purchase and much appreciated. All right, so I'm going to take 10 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Had to double check on the other one. I'm going to take 10 of the largest of the round beads here off. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. All right, so I want to go ahead and load these onto my bead stringing wire. And somebody asked about the millimeter of the beads. Let me grab my gauge and I can tell you for sure. So these are 8mm beads. And you can use any of the ones that you want to, but if you want to recreate this exactly as we're doing, then I'm definitely using the 8mm. And we're also going to be using some of the 4mm later. Okay, so 10 of those are going to go on. Now, if you're going to make this an anklet, you may want to go with 11 or 12 beads. You're going to need to increase your length about 1.5 to 2 inches, kind of just depending on how large you need this to be. Okay, So I've put all 10 of my beads on. These are already ready. I don't have to do anything else to them. And then the same thing down here on the bottom. I'm not going to take the acrylic plate all the way off. I'm just going to slide my bead stringing wire between the two acrylic plates, and then I'm going to screw the wing nut down nice and tight, and my beads are ready to slide up when I need them. Okay, so what are we going to knot with? We are going to be using some B-Lon, and I'm using white for that. And let's see here if I can find to show you. So I don't have a full roll of the white. I've used quite a bit of my white, but I've got a black one that you can kind of see. So they come in a package of 3. And you can see I've used a lot of the white. A little bit of this goes a really, really long way. So you can get a 3-pack of the B-Lon. It's just a really nice nylon cord that you can use for a lot of different things. I'm going to use it for knotting, but you can use it for stringing. Lots of different things you can use this for. Okay, you're going to need to cut about 6 feet of this. I know that sounds like a lot, but we're actually going to cut that in half. Well, don't cut it in half, but we're going to find the halfway point. And so we'll actually be working with 2 sections of 3 feet. Okay, so you want to measure out 6 feet of the B-Lon. I'm using the white. And I want to make sure I don't have any knots in this. And then I'm going to bring the 2 ends together. Okay. Bring the 2 ends together. That's going to help me find the middle. Okay, so hold on to those and then come all the way down here to the middle, and you want to place the middle of your B-Lon underneath the bead stringing wire right at that midway point. So I hold it with my finger, and one of those sides is going to go to the right and one of them is going to go to the left. Okay, so to get started, we're going to do 4 square knots. If you have been with me before, we have done square knots several times with projects. If you've not, I'm going to walk you through this nice and slow. Just realize that the first one is always kind of the weirdest looking, just because that's the one that you need to secure to the wire. So it always looks a little different. Okay, it doesn't look nice. It doesn't look like a good square knot until you get it secured, is basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, so to create your square knot, it happens in 2 steps. So the first step is you want to take your right-handed cord, okay, and you want to create a P shape over the center bead stringing wire. Okay, so I've just kind of looped over my B-Lon. It's going over the top of the bead stringing wire, and I've made this little P shape. Okay, I'm going to hold that in place. Well, I'm going to try. That's why the first one is always the trickiest. Then I want to take my left-handed cord. It needs to be going over the top of the right-hand cord that we've pulled over this way, and then it needs to go underneath the core bead stringing wire and up through the P shape that we just made. Now, like I said, I know that's difficult here in the beginning, but once I've got the first one down, it'll be a little bit easier to show you the second one. Okay, so then you're going to pull. That's the first step. The second step is the exact same thing, just mirrored. So we're going to take the left-handed cord and make a backwards P shape over this center cord. We're going to take our right-handed cord, making sure that it is going over the top of the left-handed cord that is now coming out here to the right. And then we need to go behind our bead stringing wire core and up through that backwards P shape that we made, and then pull. Okay, so that is a square knot. So it happens in 2 steps. You have to do the right and then you have to do the left. I'm going to show it to you again because we got to do 3 more of these. Okay, and it's going to slide on you. Okay, I'm just kind of working down here at the moment. We will slide this up to our acrylic plate once we get all 4 of these secure. I'm also going to bring you down a little bit closer to it, so it might help you see a little bit better. Okay, now that my B-Lon is secure to the bead string wire, it's going to be a little bit easier to create those square knots. So right-handed side, create your P shape with your B-Lon going over the top of that bead stringing wire in the center. Okay, coming out this direction. Now we're going to take our left-handed cord, make sure that it is crossing over the right cord that's now coming out here to the left. And then we're going underneath and up through that P shape that we made. And then you want to pull. That's step one. Then same thing, just the opposite. Okay, so we're starting on the left this time with our backwards P, crossing over, underneath, underneath and up through that backwards P shape. And pull. And so now you should have 2 square knots. And the way to tell how many of these knots you have is kind of hard to see with the white, but there's a little bump. See that little bump, that little ridge of the B-Lon? That counts as 1 knot. The second little bump, that counts as 2. So I always count the bumps on the right-handed side. And that's going to tell me how many knots I have completed. Okay. All right. So we're going to do 2 more. So our P shape on the right, our left cord goes back behind and up through that P shape and pull. Oops, same thing over here on the, sorry guys. On the left, our P shape, our right cord goes underneath and up through and pull. And now we have 3. We're going to do 1 more, and then we're going to change this up and do a new knot. That is a little bit easier actually than the square knot. So if you're struggling with this one, just wait for the next section of Lark's head knots, because I find that they tend to be a little bit easier for people who struggle with the square knot. So 1 more, our P shape on the right, our left hand cord goes underneath and up through and pull. Repeat on the left. So there's our P shape, right hand cord up through, or I'm sorry, behind and up through. And pull. All right, so now we have 4 of our little square knots, and you can tell by counting the little ridge. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we are going to slide all of this up, right up here to the top. Now that's going to help us with our measurement. So be sure that once you get started, you do slide this all the way up here to your acrylic plate, because that's going to help you keep up with exactly how long your piece is going to be. So keep in mind that underneath the acrylic plate, our bead stringing wire is still running through there. So our measurement actually starts right here at the screw in the center of our plate. That's going to give you a 1/2 inch. Okay, so there's a 1/2 inch of space underneath the acrylic plate. That's going to be enough to accommodate a clasp. So you're going to have a 1/2 inch on this side, a 1/2 inch on the other side. That's going to give you 1 inch for your clasp. You need to subtract that from the overall measurement to determine how much beaded area you're going to need. Okay. So now we're ready to change up our knots, and we are now going to do Lark's head knots. And the Lark's head knots are very similar to our square knots, but they only happen on one side with 1 cord. Okay, so we're going to start with our right-handed cord, and we're going to start out exactly the same way, but we're only working with that right-handed cord. So we're making our P shape. And this time we're going to take that same cord that's making the P shape, and we're going to come behind our core bead stringing wire and up through the P shape that we made. So leave that left-handed cord alone. Okay. And then you just want to slide that up. Now we're going to repeat that, but this time we're going to go underneath for our P shape. So right-handed cord, same thing, P shape, but we're underneath our core. And this time we're going to take the tail and go down through our P shape. Okay. And then slide up. Now what you've created is a little Lark's head knot, but you've done it with 1 strand. So I know a lot of you are familiar with the Lark's head knot, where you take 1 piece and you'll fold it in half, and then you'll fold it around something and pull the ends through. That's exactly what this is. Okay, so you are essentially doing half hitch knots. You're doing one over and one under. And when you do them together like that, it creates a lark head knot. All right, so we're going to do the left. Okay. So we're doing our backwards P shape, which I'm not sure if you guys are seeing it the same way I'm seeing it or not, if it's flipped, but you understand. We're doing the opposite side now. And our cord is going over the top of the center, okay, to make that P shape. But we're going to take our tail up through that backwards P shape and slide up. And it's left a little hole here. That's exactly what you want. Okay, I'll show you. Then we're going to do the same thing again, but this time we're going underneath for our P shape. Okay, and this time we'll take our cord down through that backwards P shape and pull. Now, what you've created by alternating is a tiny little bit of space right there. See that opening? We're actually going to utilize those little openings in our design to hang some dangles from later. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to slide up a bead, and we want to slide our bead right up next to the last knot we created. Don't start down here. Make sure it's resting right up against everything. Okay. And we're going to pick up our right-handed cord, and we're going to do the same thing. We're doing some more of the exact same knots. So we're just going to treat it like there isn't a bead there at all. We're going to create that P shape going over the center cord, taking our tail and bringing it up through that P shape and pull. And that's going to kind of lock that bead right in place. Next step is the same P shape, but this time we're going underneath our core. And we're going to take our tail and go down through that P shape and pull. Okay, now we've locked our bead onto the bead string and wire. It's not going to go anywhere now. Okay, now we're ready to do the left-handed side. So we're making the backwards P shape over the top of the core. Take your tail up through and pull. This time underneath for that P shape and down through and pull. Okay. Now we're going to repeat this time without a bead. So we're going to do our P shape without a bead over the top of the core, up through and pull. Repeat, but this time underneath and down through and pull. We're going to repeat with the left, backwards P shape, behind and up through and pull. And this time our P shape goes under, under and down through and pull. And again, you can see we've created two little open loops there. We're going to utilize those as a perfect place to add jump rings to hang things off of your design. Okay, we're going to slide up another bead, and we're just going to repeat this process. This is going to be the pattern that we use to create the entire length until we have added all of our beads. So we're just alternating right and left. So the right-handed cord over and up through, pull. We're going behind and down through and pull. Same thing on the left, just backwards. So there's our P, up through and pull, underneath and down through and pull. Okay, now we want to repeat without a bead. So there's our P shape, behind and up through. Our P shape goes underneath and down through and pull. Repeat on the left, over the center core, behind and up through and pull. Behind our center cord and then down through and pull. Okay. And that's going to be our pattern. So we're going to slide another bead up. So basically what the pattern is we are doing a right-handed and a left-handed over a bead, and then a right-handed and a left-handed with no bead. And then you're just going to proceed on that way. So we'll do a few more of these. Okay, so over, up through, under, and down through. Okay, left-handed side, over, and up through, pull, behind, whoops, and down through, and pull. Okay, the right without a bead, and now we'll do the left without a bead. And down through. Okay, now we're going to slide another bead. We're going to do the right-handed side over the core. It goes up through that P shape on the right. Pull. Underneath that core, and then down through and pull. And then on the left, over the core, up through, under the core, and down through. Okay, and we're going to repeat without any beads. This does work up really quickly. Once you get the hang of the knots themselves, you will be able to work this up really, really quickly. I know that we have a limited amount of time here, so I did break this down just in case we needed one to do a step out on. But you yourself should be able to work this up. I would say on your first try, it's probably going to take you about an hour. However, once you get the technique down, I think you are going to be able to work this up in really a matter of about 30 minutes, just the knotting part. It really comes together quite quickly. All right, so we've added another bead, slide that up. We're going underneath and down through. Okay. And then over here on the other side. So there's our P shape, our backwards P shape rather, behind and up through. And this time it's going behind and down through. Okay, let's repeat without beads. Over, up through, and pull, under and down through, and pull. Left side, over, up through, and behind, and down through. All right, I'm going to add one more bead to this, and then we're going to move on because I want everybody to be sure that everybody understands how to finish this. I don't want us to run out of time, okay? So I'm going to slide one more bead up. That's a cool looking bead. And we are going to do another set of our knots, and then I will show you how to finish this. So we're going to do our P shape over the core, under, up through, pull, under the core, and then down through and pull. Okay. Same thing over here on the left, our backwards P, around and up through. We're going behind and then down through. Okay, we'll repeat without the beads. So here's the right-handed side over the core, up through and pull. Under the core, down through and pull. Okay, we'll repeat over here on the left, across over the top, going back up through, and then behind and down through. Okay, so give you kind of an idea of what the entire thing is going to look like. So we've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We only had about 4 more beads to go. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next step just so that we don't run out of time. Okay, so I'm going to sit this to the side and I'm going to bring in the one where all 10 beads have been added. So let me lift you up a little bit more too here. So on this one, I have all 10 of my beads have been added to our bracelet, or if you're making an anklet, right, you might have maybe 11 or 12 beads. So at the end, with my very last bead, I finished off with another set of right and left knots without the beads. Then I took the last 4 square knots. I made 4 square knots, just like where we had started with 4 square knots. I wanted to finish off with square knots as well, just so that it kind of matched on both ends. Something else that I want to make note of, remember how I told you there is about a 1/2 inch up here between the top of our bracelet and the screw that's here. Down here, we came almost to the 7-inch mark. I'm just barely away. So it's more like 6 3/4. That's going to give me another, you know, a 1/2 inch to 1 inch to work on my clasp. So if you want a 6 1/2 inch bracelet, you're going to need to stop probably more around the 6. If you want a 7 1/2 inch bracelet, you're probably going to want to stop right about where we have stopped. That's going to give us about 7 1/2 inches. And of course, you're going to need to adjust that if it's going to be an anklet. Okay. So I finished off, and you can see I have my 2 raw ends here where I haven't done anything to them. Now, because this is nylon, you can actually kind of cut this down and then singe the ends. But because I am not the most, what's the word? Not play with fire. So I like to tie mine and use glue, but please feel free if you would like to, you know, singe your ends with a cord burner, you absolutely can do that. I just have really bad luck with that. So I'm going to show you how to do it with a knot and some glue. So we're going to go ahead and take this off of the tying station. So to do that, I'm just going to unscrew. I don't have to take the plates completely off. Just going to slide that out, and then I'm going to do the same thing down here on the other end. Okay, and I am off of the tying station completely now. All right, so couple of things to mention. You can see those holes in between there. It's like a little bit of lace. If you did not add beads and you just continued with the same lark's head knots alternating the right and the left, the right and the left without adding a bead, you would end up with what looks very much like lace. And that is a really cool look. So you don't even have to add beads to this knot technique to get something really cool. Just keep that in mind. Okay, it looks very much like crochet, which is cool because I can't crochet. So I like this alternative. All right, so down here on the bottom, I'm actually going to flip my bracelet over to the back. Really doesn't matter which side you decide is the back. I'm going to take the 2 ends and I'm just going to tie an overhanded knot. And I want to pull that down to the surface of the knots that I just created. So it's not going to be out here on the bead stringing wire. It's actually going to be right up against the knots that I created. Okay, so I'm also going to pull it really, really tight. I don't always do a second knot here because it tends to be kind of bulky and it does sit up against your skin. If you feel like you need to go ahead and double it up, you can. I will just for good measure, but a lot of times one is all I'll do. I just want to bring that knot down very, very close to the surface. Okay, pull it really, really tight. Now what you want to do is you want to come in with some of your GS Hypo cement. This stuff is perfect for the B-Lon. It works really, really well. It dries clear. Mine is always a mess, so please disregard the glue mess on mine. But you just need the tiniest little drop right on the knot that you just created, and you want to let that sit for a little bit. It's going to take a full 24 hours for that to completely set up, but a few hours and I would consider it wearable for sure. Okay, so now I'm going to trim these ends down just a little bit. Of course, once my glue sets up a little bit more, I'm going to trim these tails right up next to the knot, or you can leave them and add some beaded dangles to this if you want to. It makes some fun little fringe to hang on the end. We're going to finish off the bracelet on both ends with just a crimping technique. Then we're going to add some dangles to this, and it really doesn't matter which one you do first, but let's go ahead and finish off our ends first. Okay, so I'm going to grab some hardware. I like to use my my Beadalon Findings variety pack because it's got just about everything I need in it. It's got my jump rings, it's got my clasps, and I'm also going to use some wire guardians. And I've got crimp covers from my Crimp cover variety pack as well. Okay, let me grab my crimps. One thing I forgot to grab. All right, so I'm going to use crimp tubes. You can use crimp beads if you want to. Either or is going to work. So I've got 2 crimps. I'm going to start on this end since this is the end without our glue. I'm going to let that glue set just a little bit more. I'm going to take a crimp tube. I'm going to slide that onto our bead stringing wire. And then I'm also going to add a wire guardian. If you don't want to add a wire guardian, you don't have to. You can just take your bead stringing wire and loop through a jump ring if you want, or through your clasp, whichever. Take the tail end of that back down through the wire guardian and through our crimp. And then I'm going to pull everything down so that it's nice and close to the start of our bracelet. Okay. Now, what you want to be sure of is that your bead stringing wire is not crisscrossing inside that crimp. You want to be sure that the bead stringing wire is running parallel inside there before you crimp with your crimper tool. And you can squeeze your little wire guardian together. That kind of helps just to keep everything nice and even. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my crimper tool, and I'm going to use that back notch on the crimper tool. It's the one that has the little tooth in it. I'm going to place that crimp tube into the back notch, and I'm going to give it a squeeze. That's going to help to continue to separate out those wires inside of the crimp tube. I'm going to put that in the front notch, side to side, and squeeze, and that's going to tidy that up and just make it a little bit more small and compact. I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim that off. Now, if you want to use a crimp cover here, you can, but you don't have to. I'm going to take a crimp cover and just place it over our crimp. And you can either use your crimper tool to close that, or you can use your chain nose pliers. Just be careful not to mark up the metal. You don't want to scratch it up. You want to get a good closure on that. It's just going to look like a bead covering up our crimp. And then we just want to come down here to the other end and repeat. So we're going to thread on our crimp tube, a wire guardian, back down through, and then down through your crimp tube. Pull everything down here. Again, making sure your bead string and wire is not crossed inside your crimp.
And you want to place that into the back notch of the crimper tool, crimp, and crimp. Okay. Now at this point, I feel like my glue has set. It's nice and tacky at this point. That's good for me. Whoops, I can't cut with a crimper tool. Where's my cutter? I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut as close as I can to the knot. And if I can't get super close, I'll let it sit and I'll cut it off again. And I also need to trim off my bead stringing wire. And I'm ready to put the crimp cover on. Okay. Now, essentially, this is just like any other bracelet. You've got the beautiful knotting that has happened, very much like the friendship bracelets you used to make, but you've got that core of bead stringing wire. So you have the stability of the bead stringing wire, and you also have the option to add whatever kinds of, end findings that you want. I'm going to use jump rings and a lobster clasp, but you could add a beautiful clasp to this, in addition to your design, because you have that bead stringing wire running through the core, which makes it a really cool, it's just kind of the grown-up way of wearing a friendship bracelet, I think. All right, so I'm going to take 2 jump rings between 2 pairs of pliers. I'm going to use one and walk that jump ring open, thread it through my wire guardian. I'm going to go ahead, thread on my clasp, and then I'm going to close that back, and I'm going to repeat that on the other side. Now I'm going to add dangles to this. I'm going to show you just very quickly how to do that. You can skip this next step if you want to, but I do love to add extra movement to my designs. And so we're going to utilize these little loops that are in between our beads. Those are the perfect little places to hang extra things from. So I've got some head pins here and some of the smaller beads. Now these are already ready to go, but I'm going to show you we'll do 2 of these just for good measure. We're going to do some wrapped loops. Okay, so it's the smallest beads from the card, which was just a 4mm bead. And I'm going to thread one of those down onto a head pin. Okay, and I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers. I'm going to grab that wire right where it is exiting our bead. Now, if you want to do simple loops here instead of wrapped loops, you absolutely can, but I like a wrapped loop, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take that wire, holding the tool stationary. I'm going to bend that wire over the top of the pliers so that there is already space there. I don't have to pre-measure. I don't have to eyeball it. The pliers did all of that work for me. I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. And I'm going to take that wire up and over the top barrel of the pliers. Now I need to close my loop. I can't do that because I can't take the wire over here with this barrel of the pliers in the way. So what I need to do is just rotate. I need to take this bottom barrel of the pliers, rotate it. So now it's on the top, and I can take my wire on over to the other side, and that's going to close up my loop. And now I'm just going to wire wrap between that loop and the top of the bead. And I should have room to get about 3 good wire wraps. And then I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off the tail. I'll do that one more time, just for good measure, right? Never hurts to see it a couple of times. So there's one. If you've got a little piece of the wire sticking out, you want to come in with your chain nose pliers, tuck that in so that it's not sticking out. Okay. And let's do one more. So again, chain nose pliers, grabbing the wire right where it is exiting the bead. I'm going to bend. I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers, taking the wire up and over the top barrel. I'm going to roll those pliers out of the way and take that wire over to the other side. And I'm going to wrap in between the loop and the top of the bead. Okay, and I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off that tail and tuck it in if I need to. Just a little squeeze is all you need to do there. Okay. And that's ready to go. So what I did ahead of time, just to kind of save some time, because this is a lot of these beads, we've got 9 of these little guys that I already put on head pins and did all of the wire wrapping for. And I just picked a small jump ring out of the Findings variety pack. The Findings variety packs usually have some 5mm or 4mm jump rings in there. Grab those, unless you want a big, you want a big jump ring. I like to kind of keep my hardware nice and small, so I leave it. Now, one thing is that I already closed my jump rings because I did this in advance. I usually don't necessarily recommend doing that because you don't want to open and close your jump rings too many times, just because it will wear out that metal. So do this as you're going. Don't go ahead and close your jump rings like I did. So it's definitely a case of do as I say and not as I do. But I'm going to go ahead and open our jump ring. And then I just want to pick a side of my bracelet, and I can do either side. It makes no difference, but I'm going to thread that jump ring through one of those little loops that's on our bracelet. And then I'm just going to come in with my pliers and close that back. And you can see it's the perfect little place to hang something. So you can take your knotted bracelet and now turn it into a charm style bracelet if you want to. I'm going to keep going, and I'm only doing these little dangles on one side, but you absolutely can do these on both sides because you've got loops on both sides. So if you want to really fill this up with either, little bead dangles like I have here, or if you want to fill it up with some charms, Michael's has got a huge selection of charms and some really cool beach themed charms that would look really, really great with this. Uh-oh, I've got one that's that one was a little snug. But some little starfish, some seahorses, shells, those will look really pretty hanging from this as well. And you could also add those to your beads. So you've got a lot of options when it comes to this part, or you can leave this out altogether because some people don't like that extra. All right. So with 10 of our larger beads, we have space for 9 of our smaller beads. But of course, if you've adjusted that, you'll need to adjust your little dangle, the amount of the dangles as well. Just a couple more to go. Scoot this up here so you can see how it's coming together. It's very beachy. It's very summertime. I love knotted jewelry any time of year, but particularly in the summertime when the weather starts to get warmer. It's lightweight. It's fun. It's very boho, very casual, if you will. However, you could take this exact same design, and instead of using these natural stones for your main beads, you could use something really sparkly, a real beautiful crystal bead. Some faceted rondelles would look amazing. So you can definitely take this to a dressy place if you wanted to. You don't have to keep it as boho as I have here, but it's still gonna look amazing. And relatively easy to put together. Those knots are not hard once you get the hang of it. All right, we've got one more to go and our little bracelet will be complete. And close that back. There you go. You've got a really fun bracelet for the summer. Well, you can wear this all year if you wanted to. I don't want to limit you to just one season, but I definitely feel like this is beach worthy for sure. And you can attach your clasp here so you kind of get a feel for what it's going to look like. Very, very fun and cool. And easy to put together, right? But like the grown-up version of those bracelets we used to make when we were teenagers. Gone are the days of summer camp. We're ready to step up our game and use our 19 strand bead stringing wire as our core, which is perfect because we can use real hardware on our macrame jewelry, which I love. All right, I'm going to turn you guys around so that we can say our goodbyes, and I'll hold this up for you so you can see it in another, just in another direction. Sometimes it helps to see things hanging as opposed to laying flat. So there you can get kind of an idea of what that's going to look like. The B-Lon you can get in a pack of 3, so you don't even have to use the white if you don't want to. You can use the black or the gray. So you do have your options there. I just felt like if I had gone with the gray, it would have disappeared with the beads. So I feel like the white was the right choice with this, but you do you, right? Because I don't know what beads you're going to pick out, but whatever you choose, it's going to be amazing. Be sure you post them though, so everybody can see your creations. Always love to see what you have made if you've made along with me. Thank you guys so much for joining me this afternoon. I hope you've enjoyed this class. I hope that I have inspired you to take your macrame to the next level and include your bead stringing wire with it, which just I really feel like is, you know, it just takes it to a more mature jewelry making. I don't know. I love macrame, whether it has bead stringing wire core or not. So I don't know. I'm all about the knots. I don't care how you make them. So, you know, I just thought this was a neat way to finish it off. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope that you have been inspired, and definitely take a look at the tying station. If you do not have one, I promise you, you will get good use out of it. It's great for things not just like this, but for like long wrap bracelets and things like that. It's a really handy tool to have on hand, particularly because you can measure as you go. I love that part. So, all right, have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you guys again here at Michael's with another fun class for you guys soon. See you guys later. Have a great afternoon.